Hello, and welcome to the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of December 18th. I'm Catherine Haleko, and I'm here with Terry Morrow.
Hello.
For a weekly episode to talk about parenting in a roundabout way, along with a little pop culture. So, 'tis the season for the college kids to make their way home. And I have one home
your
and
birdies
one...
come to the nest?
Yeah, one is here and one is on their way. And the one who's already home basically packed up his entire dorm room and stuffed it in his car and brought it back with him. I mean, he brought his computer and he has 2 monitors and, all kinds of stuff, which I get because he's going to be home for 6 weeks, I mean, he is off for a long time.
Yeah.
So, but he brought his desk lamp. He brought his bowl and cup and mug that he, has for his dorm room.
Maybe it's time for you to check those online grades, Catherine.
Right. He brought his shower caddy. I'm like, do you need this to get from your bedroom to the bathroom in our house?
Well, do they tell them to clear out their dorm rooms in between? I don't seem to remember doing that, but maybe they use it for something else over the holidays?
No, I mean, because his roommate is going back right after New Year's because they do have classes after. They have a 1-month term that my child is not doing a class during that time. But he is going to go back temporarily to go to this theater festival. So he's going to go back, be in his dorm room for a couple nights, then be at this festival for a week, then come back, and then come home again for 10 more days.
So is he going to pack up all his stuff when he goes back for a day? Maybe he doesn't trust his roommate alone with his bowl and his cup and his toothbrush.
Right. He said he's going to not bring it all back when he goes back. He's going to be a little, he's going to cull it a little bit.
Okay. So he needs the leisure of the Christmas break to cull. Mm-hmm. Good luck with that. And
then I just looked in my daughter's room, and my husband had to do this horrible he had to do this video interview where there was no human talking to him. He got a question would pop up on the screen and he had, 2 minutes to answer it.
Aye.
And he had 2 tries, so he could go and then he could be like, I hate this, start over. So he had this very elaborate setup in our daughter's room so he could have a plain white backdrop, and he moved the desk, he put up a light, he had a laundry basket to prop up his laptop, he moved everything out of the background it was this huge project. Wow. And I just looked in there because she's on her way home as we speak. He didn't put everything back.
No.
I have to go in there and fix it before she gets here.
Wow.
So, because he's not even here. He went to work. So.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Anyway.
We've turned your room into the TV studio, dear.
Yeah.
You can sleep on the couch.
Right. So you're still doing some moving and shifting around.
Yes, our kids haven't gone anywhere, but we're still working on moving my daughter downstairs, which she continues to profess that she is eager and ready to do. But it's just the bathroom is not ready yet because we're still waiting on a shower door. But the kitchen is ready enough. We just need somebody needs to go to the store and buy her a microwave and a toaster. And the bedroom is ready to go. She's sleeping in there, but she has not brought all her clothes and stuff down. So she basically sleeps there, and then she's upstairs the rest of the time. And I want to be let's get this done, not to make her feel are you still up here? You live downstairs now. But just because, let's give this a try, You're not really trying it yet. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to eat something in your kitchen without your dad going, you're eating that? So,
you can bring her little griddle down there so she can make her grilled cheese.
She can make her grilled cheese. We have the contractor put in a power strip for her so she can plug things in on her counter. the plug being behind the oven, inconveniently. And so it's ready. It's just, I haven't had a lot of time this week. And what it requires is me to just take some time to say, let's do this now. Let's bring your clothes down. Let's figure out where they're going to go. I have to bring down her TV and hook it up to the cable down there. What could possibly go wrong? And I need to budget out like a day and a half for getting the bleeping TV to work if it's like usual. And I just, my wrist is better, but I feel like other people could be doing things, but they're not. It's a mom thing. Mom has to be behind this. This is a mom responsibility. So tomorrow, I think tomorrow as we're recording this, I hope I will be able to start moving her down. Move on down. She also needs to, she's using some of the dishes that my mother-in-law left behind there in the mother-in-law apartment. But the bowls are not sufficiently bowly. They're flat bowls. They're not bowly bowls. So we have to get her those as well. Her eggs might come out because they're so shallow.
But you're slowly but surely making
slowly but surely. I also feel like it all needs to be cleaned, but I ain't living there. If she wants to clean it, she can clean it. Otherwise, I'm not going to think about it. Don't put anything in the closet that's moldy just yet, but it's mostly there. So we'll see. Slowly but surely. And then once she moves down, then we may be playing a little game of musical chairs. Because I think that my son should move into her old room, which is much bigger and has better windows and some furniture in the closet and stuff that he could use. And he's like, I'm fine in my little dusty hole. Why do you want me to leave it? And it's like, because the only way I'm ever going to clean it is if you move out of it.
Is if you leave it.
Because otherwise it's, don't touch my things.
Right.
So that may happen, in which case then I will use his old room as an office. And so we'll see. Things are on the move, but they're on the move extremely slowly. Extremely slowly.
Right.
If I could it'd just be like on TV with those decorating shows. If I could just go away for a weekend and come back and everything would be great.
Yes.
I do that. So there should be somebody somewhere should be hireable to just please move all the rooms over one.
Right.
And
shift.
And then you go away and you come back and it's great.
But then somebody would have touched his stuff.
And that's a problem, yes. That is his dusty, 10 inches of dust on it stuff. If you touch it, you breathe in enough dust to choke you, so that should discourage people. And it's like dusty keys, so you can't even use a vacuum on it, because the vacuum will suck up the keys too. So I don't know what we do. Put them in a flour sifter and shake or something to get all the dust off them.
A leaf blower, perhaps.
Yes. What we need is a large staff of of employees to take care of our home, which we clearly are unable to do. And if they wanted to help me get dressed in the morning, that'd be fine too.
Right. Some
they can
maids,
pick things out for me.
Valets.
Do my hair.
Cook, kitchen maid, butler. Yeah. A butler would definitely would oversee that project of move all this stuff from here to here, move all this stuff from here to here. Yes.
And when the Jehovah's Witnesses rang the doorbell at 9 a.m. and I had to stumble down the stairs with trying not to break my wrist again, the butler would have taken care of that.
Yes.
Wouldn't have had to.
Absolutely.
Had a footman see them out. But, Gilded Age. That was the time. Of course, I would have to wear a corset, so need a Gilded Age only with contemporary dress.
Right.
No, not that pair of jeans. The other pair of jeans. Do you know nothing? She put my part on the right instead of the left. Fire her.
No. She has no skill with tiaras.
That's right. It's so important to have the tiara placed just so, don't you find it?
Absolutely.
So, we watched the finale of the Gilded Age, season 2 finale.
Right.
With so very much having been brought about in the next to last episode. Oscar losing all his mother's money and opera wars, Duke wars. He's a very unpromising dude to have so many women going, she stole my Duke! That was my Duke! She stole him! It's two different women!
And as George very reasonably points out, well, didn't you steal him first?
Exactly! Man! Oh, sterling marriage material. I'm sure
Bertha
Gladys will be
had
very
a
happy.
trump card. Named Gladys.
She did. She must have promised him something else.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. And there will be a clash between her and George, who promised Gladys she could marry for love. But it's next season. I am so relieved. I was afraid there was going to be a clash, which may or may not ever happen.
May or may not happen. So
they may leave us to just imagine the deliciousness of Ada being in charge and Agnes having to eat crow pretty much every day from everybody. At 2 Bannister, seriously, man, he turned on a dime. Oh, you're paying me now? What would you like me to do?
Although, shouldn't he be calling her Mrs. Forte, not Miss Ada?
Yes, he should be.
Yeah.
He should. Give him a demerit for that. But wow. I wouldn't have expected it of Bannister, but he did not waste any time. Mm-hmm. Youch.
But just as you had hoped last week, with the Reverend saved the day in the end.
He did. Posthumously saved the day.
Yes.
Yeah. Extremely unlikely, but also the only way it could have gone. So I don't think we were all looking forward to everybody living in a little garret someplace with Armstrong and the cook.
Yes.
But, so, yay. And boy, is that going to change the dynamics of that household in ways that will be uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. But Oscar was getting his well-deserved flogging, and she should continue to do that forever. Because I feel not an ounce of sympathy for that dude. Mm-hmm. He deserves everything he gets. If all he's getting is a tongue lashing from his mama, he's pretty lucky.
He's doing pretty well. Yeah. Well, the title of the episode was In Terms of Winning and Losing. And honestly, there were mostly winners here. Just Mrs. Astor was a big loser.
Astor. Oh, bad night for Mrs. Astor.
Yes, and I guess Oscar's still losing, even though he's not penniless anymore.
Right. Well, he is still penniless. He just has a relation who is not.
Right.
So,
right.
And I hope Ada does not ask him to help handle her finances.
Right.
Surely there are professionals who could do a better job.
Perhaps he's learned his lesson.
Yeah. Give him a daily allowance and not a penny more.
Right.
And another storyline that went the way we would have predicted and hoped is Marion and Larry heating up.
Right.
She turns
and also
Dashiell down after he calls her by his dead wife's name.
Yeah.
Which seems reasonable.
Yeah.
And, she puts it nicely and takes it pretty well. Even the little girl is not upset. So the fact that this was a marriage of convenience was apparently an open...
Right.
something that everybody accepted, including Agnes. She didn't even get, but...
She did say you have 2 strikes against you.
Yes.
So watch it, girl.
And this is why I wonder, did Larry learn nothing from Laura Benanti? Man, what are you doing kissing women outside their door where everybody can see?
I know.
Especially a woman who has just broken an engagement. Should she be seen kissing you?
No, definitely not.
No. What's the matter with you, man?
Yeah.
Hey.
And
it makes me so nervous every time I see him doing that, because bad things are going to happen now.
Yes. But we all needed to...
Because I don't think that Bertha's gonna eyeball Marion as the ideal catch for her son.
Yeah, but she is from an old family, right?
She's from old money. It's different old money than it was before, but it's still old, and it's still money.
That's right. It's Boston old money now.
It's Boston old money.
But who cares? Yes. It's still green.
Yes, indeed. Thank goodness.
Yes.
Because British, it's treacherous. But again, anything bad that's going to happen next season if there's a next season. Right now, we just finally got Marion and Larry kissing. And
that's right.
They both look very happy about it.
Yes.
And Larry is going to maybe go in business with Jack to make clocks.
It's going to be trains and clocks and things at the...
And if there were more episodes, I would worry that Larry is going to scam Jack in some way, but I don't have to worry about that because it's the end of this season. For now, we could just imagine, isn't Larry a good dude? And
I don't think Larry's a scammer.
He and Jack will make a great business. Yeah. Do we know this, though?
Well.
He's a nice guy, somewhat thoughtless. Mm-hmm. So, like, have I mentioned, don't kiss women in front of their front doors. Stop that. But
that's right.
He's not thinking things through, the boy. He's awfully handsome, though. Mm-hmm. He's got a nice smile.
That's right.
And he thinks that he can start a clock company just like that. So...
Well, he probably can.
I hope it works out.
It just takes money.
Yeah. Yeah, it does take money. So I hope it works out for Jack.
Yeah.
And I hope that the budding servant romance in the Russell house, which Bertha has now fostered a little bit.
Mm-hmm. By giving them tickets to the opera.
That is very sweet of her. Mm-hmm. It almost makes you forget that she's pimping out her daughter. But... Again, we don't have to worry about that till next season. We're just supposing that's what she did. We don't know for sure.
Yeah, that was...
We can wait to worry about that.
Pretty strongly implied, I would say.
And just enjoy her triumph and not think about...
Mrs. Fish just like, I'm out of here. You can't make me stay here. Mm-mm.
Fair weather friend, Mrs. Fish.
She saw.
And honestly, I mean, I do fear for Gladys and with the Duke, but at the same time, this little dude that she's waving and wanting to bring over to their box and stuff, he does not look particularly promising.
Yeah, Billy.
I think you can do better, Gladys.
Yeah.
You know, think more highly of yourself. Yes. Oh, the complications. Mm-hmm. And, of course, Marion's not the only one who put a man in his place and said, I'm ending this. Peggy quit her job.
That's right.
And let her editor know exactly why that was. Mm-hmm. And what could he do? You know,
and this was when she thought that she wouldn't be...
He screwed up, and it's going to cost her a journalism career. And I think that he should think about that really hard.
Well, now she's going to be a novelist, Terry, so...
She's going to be a novelist. Well, we all know how easy that is. I'll just go write a novel, and I'll sell it, and I'll make a lot of money from it. It'll be great.
Well,
good luck to you, Peggy.
She can still work for Agnes now. She was...
that's right. Yeah, I was thinking, geez, you don't have another job, sweetie. I guess you can go back
at the
with
time
Mom and
when
Dad,
she quit, she didn't. But now she can go back to Agnes.
But will she be Ada's secretary?
That's right.
Is Ada going to pay for Agnes to have a secretary? What does she have to secretary about now? Since, Agnes is lucky that Ada is basically a sweetheart.
Yes.
But even at that, she's going to enjoy this for a little bit.
She did have that little smile on her face of like, yep, I'm the boss right now. So
it's so interesting, though, because Agnes was being at her absolute worst for a while and was just horrible about the wedding and all of that. And then she got nice.
Right.
Did they make that? It was a very sharp turnaround. Mm-hmm. Did they do that so we wouldn't hate her at the time that this happens?
Right.
That we would have sympathy for her? Or what? I mean, if she went on being as nasty as she was there for a while, we'd be throwing a party that Ada has the money now, is me able to put her in her place. But
Right.
now you got to feel a little sorry for her because she
Right.
was being nice and she was being good and she offered Armstrong a job, even though she really shouldn't.
Yeah.
But she's just been lovely for a few episodes now, and so we can't enjoy it as much.
Yes, we don't have to feel, yeah.
Now we have to feel sorry for her and feel like, all right, Ed, don't lord it over too much. And Bannister really was that necessary. That was a little rude, man.
Well, he's all about knowing
paid
where
help.
his bread is buttered, right?
That is true. That is true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just felt like a knife in her back, though. The least likely source.
Right. Yeah, I mean, think back to the very beginning of the series, you know, how very mousy and,
yes,
you know, trodden upon Ada was. And she did really, you know, get a backbone, to at least to some extent, through all this. I'm sorry it took the loss of the Reverend, but yeah, it did.
Boy, good decision, lady, to marry that guy.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Mm-hmm. But I think, you know, it changed her character as well as her circumstances.
Yes.
So.
Boy, as soon as she said, I have all these papers from the lawyers to look at, I'm like, look at them now. There's a will in there. There's a lot of papers from lawyers. That means money.
Right.
Go look.
Although for Marion, it did not when her father died.
That's true. Yeah. Oy.
And that awful Tom Rakes was like, nope, you're poor.
Yeah. Oy. Well.
Good thing
she
that
can land
jerks
Larry.
out of the picture.
That'd be pretty impressive. That would be a coup.
Mm-hmm. And then Bertha will be her mother-in-law.
Aye. Caught between the aunts and the mother-in-law.
Right.
Well, Ada is at least sympathetic to her. So.
Yeah.
Good luck to you all in the off season.
Yeah, I hope it comes back, but I guess we'll see.
But I would not be unhappy leaving it here.
That's right.
With so many things at a satisfactory conclusion.
Right.
And an extra season will do nothing but mess them all up.
Right.
Again.
Mix it all up. Mm-hmm. You're right about that.
Yes. Just enjoy this for a little while.
Right.
Just make memes and think happily about the way they've ended it.
That's right.
Before we have to really think through what this means for Agnes and for the Russells' marriage and for the dynamics of the sisters and all these things.
Right.
And whether gossip journalist saw Larry and Marion kissing in front of her door. Mm-hmm. That really bothers me. Stop it.
Right.
But
I think we would have gotten the gist even without that, you know.
Yes.
Without the kiss.
I don't think we need. They could have ducked into a little side area, just not right in front. You know, at the top of the steps.
Right.
In broad
they just
daylight,
came from inside his
front
house.
of her door.
They could have found a little spot in there.
You'd have thought. There's lots of little spots. We've seen them. Mm-hmm. Oh, and allegedly, Watson is leaving his job.
But he's going to stay in New York so he can see his daughter. So I guess she did talk her husband into whatever it is that...
And we can believe that until another season comes along. We find out that they double-cross him in some way. Or
right.
Something bad happens. Maybe Michael Cerveros got a play somewhere and he's going to be busy.
He's like, all right, I'm good to go now.
I wish Watson well, however. Mm-hmm. And I still don't trust the new maid.
Yeah, the French maid.
I still don't trust her.
Mm-mm.
I thought that maybe the quote French unquote chef would spot her as having a fake accent too and out her, but not yet.
Yeah, because I mean, why? What was the point of that whole plot?
Yeah, I expected it to have some payoff this season.
Right.
So either I'm completely wrong, or they just figured they just leave that little time bomb ticking.
Right.
Kind of like the ticking time bomb of Mrs. Winterton sitting there, PO'd. Not enjoying the opera, I'm guessing.
No, but I did enjoy her husband basically telling her to sit down.
Yes, I did. I did too. And he's finally realizing what he has on his hands, and he's going to have to do something about it.
He's trying to manage it at this point.
You imagine, at intermission, do the gentlemen withdraw to the bar for a few minutes, and Mr. Winterton and Mr. Russell just kind of standing together going, wives, man, wives.
What are you going to do? Well, we did find out that it was Bertha who told Mrs. Astor.
Yes, that was a little throwaway line there.
Mm-hmm.
But that was smart of her. That was smart. I hadn't thought about the fact that Mrs. Astor would not have that if she found out.
Right.
Although I bet now Mrs. Winterton's looking pretty good. I bet she's wishing she still had that woman's butt in a box.
Right. 2 more bodies would come in handy.
She miscalculated. Oh, well.
She lost.
We don't have to think about what the repercussions of that are going to be until the theoretical next season.
Right.
I'm not looking forward to watching this again, actually, the more I talk about it.
Yeah, you've talked yourself right out of it now.
On this note of triumph. Welcome back. We're going to mess everything up now, and everybody's going to be unhappy.
Oh, yes.
Oh, well. No. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, if it ends here, we're quite happy.
If it ends here, I'm glad it ended on a happy note with no... I mean, all the cliffhangers are theoretical at this point.
That's right.
Maybe Gladys will like the Duke. Maybe he's a sparkling conversationalist. Hector. Oy. Hector.
Yeah. Just call us George and Bertha. That sounded so weird.
It did. Oh, well. The Gilded Age. We've enjoyed you.
Yes.
And the plotting and the acting and the costumes, which continue to be glorious and ridiculous.
Yes.
Sometimes both at the same time. So, lovely show to look at.
That's right.
So, speaking of people in need of money and desperate to find some, we watched the Hulu movie Quiz Lady, which starred Awkwafina as one of those people who sits on the couch and yells out all the answers in the quiz show, and Sandra Oh as her wacky sister, who eventually gets her to go on said quiz show, where she winds up doing quite well and vanquishing that smarmy guy who kept winning before her.
Yes, Jason Schwartzman played.
Jason Schwartzman. Do you think this was like a knock on Ken Jennings, who then went on to replace Alex Trebek?
I mean, it wasn't not that, I guess. Because Will Ferrell playing the host had a definite Alex Trebek vibe, except he was like, I think Alex Trebek was a little more sort of sharp and sarcastic, and this guy was very, very sunshiny.
Yes, he was. So I enjoyed the end of this movie very much. A lot of the business getting up to it, I was like, yeah. Go move along. But
the end, as in when she's actually on the show.
Yeah, the part where she was actually on the show, I enjoyed. A lot of it just, and it was only like an hour and a half movie, so it wasn't like it was interminable. The Sandra Oh character takes a little while to not wish she would go away. Right. But it wound up.
It's definitely a fun, reversal of expectations in terms of Sandra Oh playing this absolute just nutty
Yeah.
Irresponsible weirdo, and then her sister, Awkwafina, playing her sister as incredibly straight-laced, and she's this posture that she like kind of her shoulders down and her gut forward in this very awkward way that she walks the whole time.
Yes. But they, they brought it around in such a way that some of the annoying stuff from earlier all worked towards the ending.
Right.
Even Ben Franklin. I enjoyed watching him watch the show and cheering them on.
Right.
Yes. Tony Hale, I later discovered that was.
Oh, that's who that was. Okay. Yeah, that was a funny scene when the two sisters arrive at this hotel, and Sandra Oh's character is just grilling him on like, well, if you're Ben Franklin, why are you using a phone? Why are you using a computer? Like, are you supposed to be Ben Franklin's ghost, or are you like the actual Ben Franklin? Like, what's going on? He just won't drop it. I'm sorry, my dogs are really freaking out. I don't know why.
They want us to talk that there's a dog in the movie. There was a dog. You haven't mentioned the dog yet.
There is a dog in the movie. Absolutely.
Very important dog.
His name is Linguini.
Yes.
He's an extremely old pug.
It was to ransom him that they went on this adventure in the first place. And then at the end, he brought her luck. Most important, pivotal character in the show.
That's right. And yes, he was delightful. And I also enjoyed, this scary gangster guy has kidnapped him because the sister's mom owes him money because she's a gambler and just kind of an all around screw up. And it turns out that he's struggling financially because he has all these dogs.
He kidnaps these dogs, and then the people never come back for them, and then he has to support them, and he's a dog lover, so he supports them lavishly, and he's consequently in need.
Yes.
But
it's quite...
Linguini was well taken care of.
That's right.
And
not have to worry about Linguini.
Yes.
He was fine.
And Holland Taylor has a little role as the next-door neighbor who does not get to play charades, but does get to ride in a golf cart with somebody she believes to be Alan Cumming.
Right.
Who is, in fact,
Paul Rubens, R.I.P.
So it was fun.
Yeah.
Got more fun as it went along. The early setup was sort of, okay, I see where this is going. But yeah, the further it got along, the more I liked it. So if you seek this out on Hulu to watch, which I think we recommend, hang in there.
Yeah.
And you too.
It will grow on you.
Yes.
Yes.
It will end pretty much the way you expect it to end. So just hold on.
Right. But in a very enjoyable way.
Definitely.
Predictable in most ways, but enough little misdirects and changes that to make it fun.
Right. So now we once again have come to the time for Catherine's Library Find of the Week. What you got?
That's right. So this week, as you know, books just continually pass through my hands all day when I'm working a shift at the library, although right now things are different because we're still moving.
Right.
Speaking of moving and things that are dirty, I've spent a week like on my hands and knees, reshelving, and the floor.
I was afraid you were going to say you were giving us some dirty books today, and I was thinking, whoa, wait a minute.
No.
Put an advisory.
Like
okay, the floor was dirty.
And dirt. Yes.
Okay. Just regular old dirt, people. Don't worry. Stand down.
Yeah, don't worry about it. So anyway, but on a more typical work day, I'm just checking in books, and, there's usually very little time to stop and, sometimes things catch my eye. And this one caught my eye. It's called Finlay Donovan is Killing It. And it's basically, the flap copy is what got me, which was about how it's a mom who... There's a misunderstanding, an overheard conversation in a Panera, and she gets hired to assassinate someone. And she's like, of course I'm not doing that. But she kind of really needs some money. And she's a writer. She's a novelist of like mystery thriller type of books. And, of course she needs to be writing one, and she doesn't have any, she's stuck. And, so she's like, well, I'm just going to check into this person, that I've been asked to murder. And, indeed finds out that he is a horrible, awful person that probably should be killed. So anyway, it goes on from there. And so it's kind of a murder mystery thriller with some romantic comedy liberally sprinkled in. And it's just a lot of fun. I listen to it in the car. When you told me that I should listen to Steve Martin's autobiography, instead I listened to
Martin Short's autobiography.
Martin Short. Instead, I listened to this.
So I'm sure Steve Martin's autobiography would be delightful as well.
Would be fun as well, yes. I listened to this, and it was just fun, and they made it so that you didn't have to feel bad that somebody got killed, right? And that,
he was a scumbag. He was a bad guy. It's fine.
He really, really was. And there's a lot of like, there's a lot of like, well, why wouldn't she just XYZ? That happens in books all the time. But in this one, I felt that the author did a really good job of making it work. Of dropping the hint or making the setup far in advance so that you would be like, oh, okay, I see why she couldn't have done this other thing. She did a good job of making that work. The author's name is Elle Cosimano, and there is actually a series of Finlay Donovan mysteries. So this was the first one, and there are several more. And her sidekick in all of this is her babysitter. So that's kind of fun. So there's 3 more Finlay books, and then there's a short story starring the babysitter. So. That's kind of fun. Nice. Well, actually, there's 2 more books that are out now, and then there's a third one coming out. So it'll be number 4 coming out in 2024.
Is this how she avoids having to pay for the babysitter? It's okay, babe. I'll write a story about you. You're famous.
Well, there's a whole thing in it of how the babysitter gets involved and how they sort of become, let's say, partners in crime.
That sounds really fun. I'm going to have to look those up.
Yeah. But she's also like this wonderful babysitter who cooks and cleans, and, the kids love her. And
so there's a little bit of fantasy, in other words, as well.
Exactly. Because how women are always like, I need a wife, to take care of all this stuff. And that's exactly what Veronica does. So it's a lot of fun. Finlay Donovan is Killing It is the first one to start with. Yeah.
That sounds fun.
It is fun.
You know what else sounds fun? Taking a spin through our archives.
Yes.
And seeing what we were talking about 1 year ago, 4 years ago, and 10 years ago this week. This week, 10 years ago, we had our very first episode of Parenting Roundabout.
That's right.
It was called Holiday Parenting Joys and Jangles, and I would encourage you all to go back and listen to it, but holy cow, was Blog Talk Radio awful. Oh my. I went back and tried to listen to it, and I mean, I'm not saying our current iteration is any great shakes audio-wise, but it was primitive.
Yes. Well, shout out to our friends Amanda Morin and Catherine Lewis, who were the first to join us on that day.
That's right. That was our proof of concept episode. It was going to be a podcast with 4 About.com writers every week talking about parenting stuff. And that lasted about a year. And then it became such a chore to round up 3, you and me were always there, but 2 other people.
2 other people.
So we diversified. But still, you know what? That was pretty bold of us back then. And even though the audio record of it is trying, perhaps, probably still some good advice there.
Yeah. It's fun.
But more recently, probably then too, but more recently, a year ago, we were talking about parenting trends to take or leave, which is a perennial topic on this podcast.
Right, because we also talked about it 4 years ago.
Yes. It's like, we need a topic. Let's find a parenting article. And it's always about, are you doing this thing? Or here's how you should be doing that thing. Or what's really popular now, and if you're not doing this, are you a good parent? Or let's make up a name for the type of parent that you are.
Right.
It's one of the reasons I'm glad I'm no longer writing about parenting. I know how those articles come into being. I know. Yes. I have been there. I have a deadline. What can I make into something important?
That's right.
But
last year it was some listicle, and it was about parenting trends to get rid of and to sort of resurrect. But then 4 years ago, it was parenting trends of the decade.
Oh my.
So there was a lot happening that time.
Yeah. Elf on the Shelf, did you ever actually do that?
Nope.
That was a hated trend in 2019, and it's a hated trend now, and it must have been after my kids' time, because that's the kind of thing I would have done, I think. Mm-hmm. Welcome to America, children. These are the sorts of things we do.
This is what happens here. We have an elf who surveils you to make sure that you're doing.
Maybe not, though, because we didn't do Santa either. I figured, they're coming here to a completely different culture. There's going to be enough confusing stuff. I probably don't need to introduce something that's not actually real. Right. So maybe I wouldn't have done the elf. It would probably creep them out. But it's when did that start being a thing?
I don't know. I mean, we mentioned it certainly in 2019, and I think we also mentioned it in 2015. And complained about it all of these times, of course. So, 2015, I mean, I think that might be...
It must have started about the same time as, like, Pinterest and Instagram, right? Because what's the good of doing it if you're not taking pictures of it to show off?
Just for the record, the Elf on the Shelf book that started it all came out in 2005.
Okay, that was well after my kids' time.
Yeah, my kids were pretty little then, but luckily it hadn't made its way to where we were forced to do it. Unlike, St. Nick, which we were forced to do, which I've talked about here on this podcast. Yes. Which is like a very Wisconsin thing.
Yes. Somebody was telling me the other day that their family did it. And I was saying, oh yes, I have a friend who was talking about having to go to the drugstore like at 11 o'clock on the night before to get stuff to fill up shoes, but I didn't.
Yep. That would be me, but
I
think this was the first year I didn't do anything because I had no one here. Yep. On the night of December 5th, I was like, "What am I not doing? I'm not shopping."
Were you secretly tempted to go buy yourself some candy?
I mean, I wouldn't have said no to candy if someone gave me some, but
Let's see. Staycations people wanting to leave the trend of staycations?
Yeah. I listened to this episode. I know. I listened to that episode, and apparently on the listicle where staycations were mentioned as a trend to put a stop to. I guess the implication was that we did staycations during COVID, and COVID is over. I see. So get out of your house. There. Yeah. Which I don't know. I don't think that's necessary. Like, let people do what they want for their.
Don't let your kids be bored and cranky in your house. Spend a lot of money to take them to a hotel and have them be bored and cranky there.
Yeah.
No, we can do that at home.
Right. We can certainly do that.
Go to the science museum and go to someplace else and then come home.
Right.
But bento box lunches, hooray. Yeah, that we should leave. Although, you know what? If somebody wants to do that, if it gives you joy to do that for your child, God bless.
Yeah, like Whitney Carson. She does it.
I'll bet
and she puts it on Instagram. Yes. The bigger problem I have with those is, and I talked about this on last year on our episodes, like, it's a million little containers and you have to hand wash them every day.
Yeah.
And that's the part that's like, no, thank you. I mean, I don't like packing lunches, period. But that is a huge deterrent on the bento box.
Yeah. But that's also the sort of thing that's made for social media. And to
for sure.
look how good I am.
Look how cute it is.
And you gave your kid a sack.
Right. You gave your kid a brown paper bag with some plastic baggies that are going to pollute the ocean.
Yes.
Way to go.
All of this stuff. And, I guess I am very, very glad that I was not raising children during the social media era, because it's hard even now to do anything. But they're doing their own. They're doing their own social media, so I don't have to do anything.
Yes. Your kids manage their own social media.
They manage their own social media. My son reliably tells everybody what we're having for dinner, and then that it was good.
Okay.
And also that he's going to bed. So he's got it covered. He doesn't say, well, dinner was okay, but it was not packaged well, or it was not arranged well on the plate. It wasn't very
the plating left something to be
I would
desired.
take a picture of it, but it's just a slab of meatloaf. But no, he likes everything. I tell my husband he is the most praised chef in the world, because every night he gets 10 stars.
Accolades. Mm-hmm.
Yes. But I don't know. It would have been, I was on as I've said before, parenting email list in the time before social media. And there was plenty of garbage going on there too. So it's like a natural. And before that, it was said stuff over the fence. There's always been judging and there's always been shaming. And I guess we just open ourselves up to a wider audience of it on social media. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Is it better for strangers to be shaming you than the person who lives next door? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just generally bad. But
yes.
The lady who sends the bento boxes, lunches, whether she puts it on social media or not, there's a bunch of moms at the school going, "Oh, look at that. Are you serious?" Love you, Whitney. But kid's still in preschool. Let's see if she's still doing that when he's in 3rd grade.
Right.
Yeah. So we have had a trend of doing episodes every week, sometimes every day, coming up with hybrid episodes for holidays. And we're going to do something dramatic this year that'll make you all be gossiping about us. What are they doing? Is that right? They did that? Should they be doing that? Feel free to just go crazy. But for the next 2 weeks, we're not going to put out a podcast at all. We're going to take 2 weeks off. We're going to take the holidays off. The first time in 10 years that we have completely gone 2 weeks with no episodes.
Yep.
So
radio silent.
Enjoy your holidays And I will try to deck your social media feeds with graphics from old episodes that you can go back and listen to if you miss us. But it's gonna be nice. A relaxation.
Yes.
Maybe I can take that time to move my daughter down one floor in my house.
That's right. Yes. So that's it for the Parenting Roundabout Weekly Roundup for this week, this month, this year. You can find all our episodes, though, on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. You can also talk to us on our Facebook page, on Instagram, or on Twitter, where you'll find us at Roundabout Chat. And please visit our Amazon shop at amazon.com/shop/mamitude, where you can find links to a lot of the things we've talked about over the years, over the decade. We will see you back here in 2024.
Yay!
Goodbye, Terry.
Goodbye, Catherine.
Bye, everyone.